The motivation for opening Gulf Breeze Recovery is simple, and that is the knowledge that I knew there was a better way to help people to overcome addiction problems.
Knowing that they offered a healing environment where you don't feel like you're bad and you're incurable and you're just your mistakes, and reading all of their principal values versus traditional values and what they offer is what locked it in for me.
I was really excited when I found a new approach that gave people their power back, because I knew that people could relate.
Instead of driving 2 hours, we kept driving and drove 7 hours and ended up here at about midnight that night. And I just knew when I got here this is where I needed to be. It's just that feeling that the vibe this place gives off.
When I heard that Barnett was looking to create his own treatment facility, I knew I wanted to be a partner in it in some way from the ground up. I had worked with Barnett and I've known him a very long time, and I knew that he felt the same thing that I did, that deep down there was a better way to help people overcome their struggles with addiction. So it seems that the traditional approach of the 12 steps has been around for 3/4 of a century, and our understanding of addiction has evolved, but their treatment model hasn't. And we wanted to do something that really not only gave the power back to the other person, but helped them help themselves, so that once they do leave, they live a productive, drug-free life.
They always say there's a time and place for everything, and this is my time. And I feel like I'm going to shine when I walk out these doors.
2.5 weeks in, something clicked, and like everybody saw it. You know, they're like, you know, just like this weird transformation just like that.
What I learned here, we're just one thought away from that innate mental health that the principles provide. And I was lucky enough to see that here.
So our non-12 step is designed helping them create a healthy direction of life rather than leading a life avoiding what they don't want, to create a completely new healthy direction that alcohol and drugs are simply not a part of.
It's not this struggle and effort when you come through this program. It's a paradigm shift, and you just view yourself, you view your life through a higher perspective, so that at the end of the day, it's not about coping here. It's about being able to thrive.
Our non-12 step approach, you know, really what it means to me is basic, and that is that we're going to concentrate on your health. We're not going to concentrate on an illness, okay? People have the innate urge, if you will, to be healthy. And whether it be conscious or subconscious, we want to be healthy, and that's both mentally and physically.
What we're helping people understand is that they're more than their past. They're more than their painful memories. And ultimately, we have found the greatest stumbling block in helping people overcome their addiction often isn't even the habit itself, but it's the belief that they're powerless to overcome it.
About 1.5 years ago, I lost my son. And I held on to him and just did whatever it could take to numb that pain. Since I've been here, I have learned to increase my faith, and I'm going to utilize this new experience, this different approach, and yet it isn't different. It was always in me. This is a birthright. I was born with the ability to think and feel and behave like this. I just didn't realize it.
When the individual has a vertical shift in their thinking and they think differently, it's incredibly simple, and it can be very organic and natural. When people think differently, they behave differently.
Our program at the beginning includes a detoxification period, you know, for those who need it. And you know, the beauty about it is that, you know, it's a very small, private setting, all private rooms. A nurse's station is 10 steps, 15 steps away from your room. but very individualized, very one-on-one, okay? Because we want people to comfortably detox. We don't want that to be something that they're afraid of, because it can be done in a healthy way. And so once a person finishes the detoxification process, then we go into the physical health recovery part of the program. And what that entails basically is, helping to get people, their sleep pattern back, providing healthy meals, exercise, light exercise, and they can go at their own pace, and then spa therapy. Because what we want to do is we want to help, number one, a person to feel better. Because once they start to feel better, all of a sudden now they generate hope. But then also there's another phase of it, and people typically come into rehabilitation with a little resistance, okay? And once they start to feel better and everything else, and they start to be able to listen and to maybe absorb what we're trying to, help teach them, help show them, then all of a sudden the resistance kind of fades away.
Had an open mind and just definitely dove into it. Whatever they asked me to do, I did. Within, I would say, about 4 or 5 days into it, I felt like a different person.
Your skin starts to look good and you feel better, and it's amazing, but you have to let go.
It's a very important step to recovery, I feel, because you can't get your mind together without being healthy and feeling good, and you have to be able to feel good to be receptive to anything else.
The other places I had been to were two different, both of them were 12-step programs, and they were rehab centers, is what I call them. Where to me, Gulf Breeze is a recovery center, and there's a difference there to me. Gulf Breeze allows you time to heal physically, so you can take in the information then they give you.
And that's a huge problem with a lot of the traditional therapies, because when people resist, then the natural tendency is to say that they're not ready. But we know that resistance is part of this process, and the way we do things helps people to overcome that resistance.
If there's one thing that I would have done differently in my recovery, even though I can't really say that because I'm happy where I'm at, it would be, I wish I wouldn't have been so damn stubborn, because I was so resistant to the process. As much as I wanted to be here, I was resisting the smallest little things. I mean, even getting to this on time or that, and as soon as I just let go and said, all right, I'm gonna let somebody else steer the ship, fine. Everything came into place. I started having insights on life. I felt more spiritual than I have in years. The nightmares went away.
Within about 4 days, my thoughts were clearer. I had a lot more clarity. I was seeing things in a different light that I had before. Could see the beauty in this place, and just felt amazing, just ready to, try to conquer whatever was in front of me at that point.
I see Gulf Breeze Recovery really setting a model for future treatment centers.
So all we're trying to do is really teach you how to access the wisdom that's inside of you 100% of the time. Just gets covered up by our thinking. And if it sounds that simple, it is. It's just hard to believe, but it is unbelievably powerful. This is how I live my life, and I've noticed the results. And all I'm trying to do is speed that up for the people in the classes and for my clients here in counseling.
That's one of the big reasons I chose here. I didn't want to be on Suboxone or methadone, because you can beat this yourself, and you don't have to be dependent on something else. Each day I begin, to enjoy little things in life again. My relationship with my family was getting better, and overall, the main thing that they try to teach here is happiness within yourself. And I achieved that, and it just made life a lot easier.
Our ultimate goal for the guests that come, we want them to discover within themselves that they have the power to create a beautiful life that they want. I think everybody in some way knows they are always creating their life, but when we understand how it works, it gives people the power to deliberately create the life that they do want instead of avoiding a life that they don't. Do you agree, Barnett?
I do agree. You know, the goal here is to help people to thrive, not just to live a clean life. I got to live a clean life. It's to thrive. It's to move beyond and to go forward and be who they really are. Because who they really are is not their addiction. Who they really are is not their livelihood. Who they really are is none of those things. And so that's the goal for our guests that come in. Our far-reaching goal is to one day, hopefully, be a part of changing the face of how addiction is treated in this country. You know, I mentioned earlier about we want people to thrive. And you know, what does it mean to thrive? In that moment, in this search, you know, typically people are existing. And then unfortunately, through the substance abuse, they start to really suffer. And to thrive is to listen to your own wisdom, to follow your wisdom, to have faith in that, and to move forward, to understand that, you know, it's natural for you to want to live a healthy, fulfilled life. That's thriving.
I feel really strong, and I'm not worried about what comes my way, because as long as I come from this place of peace, really, I'm okay with dealing with whatever comes my way, which is nice. I've never been able to say that. I feel like I've been scared my whole life, and I'm not scared anymore.
To me, thrive means total health recovery, moving beyond your addiction and living the life of your dreams, which is possible for anyone. When the individual comes in, we want to get them to where they're physically healthy, like Barnett had mentioned, sleeping through the night, to establish a baseline for how they truly feel when they're clean. And when it's not a counselor or a therapist or one of us telling them that you look great and you're doing well, but when it's their direct experience, it's unmistakable, and now it's a truth for them, and that's where they find that momentum to move in to the next portion of the program, because they begin to trust what we're doing.
Gulf Breeze recovery is a lot different from my past experience with rehab, because it's all positive reinforcement. They don't ask you to go back into your past and bring up all these things that you're really trying to forget. It's all about letting go of things like that. When you learn why you're feeling that way, it's much easier to let it go instead of feeling like you need to fix it. You learn to embrace your feelings and accept them and really be comfortable in your own skin rather than feeling like you need to change something.
We cannot solve an addiction problem at the same level of understanding and the same level of consciousness that we had when we created the problem. And we can try. We can tell ourselves, oh, don't do drugs. You know, if I move here, maybe, you know, I'll stop using drugs. If I go to work, maybe I'll become busy and not do drugs. And it doesn't ever work. And so what we're doing here is we're helping to raise a person's level of consciousness, level of awareness concerning their life and concerning their addiction problem.
Been to 7 inpatient rehabs, a couple outpatient, wilderness rehabs, behavioral rehabs, military rehabs, 12-step rehabs, religious rehabs. This rehab, out of all of them, I don't know what it was. It's like a light bulb, man. It clicked, everything came to me. I'm not even worried about leaving. I'm so confident in it, I'm excited. I chose to come here. It's finally working for me, and it's beautiful. It's like I'm astonished by everything I've learned. I can't believe this is me today, but it is who I am, and I'm present with it, and it's beautiful.
And once they achieve that higher level, that's when things start coming together for them. And how is that done? It's done through insight. And the insight has to come from the individual, from within his or herself. And once they achieve that, then it's real to them, and everything makes sense, and it cannot be forgotten.
Here, just going through classes and having conversations with different people and opening yourself up to a new experience, you realize that it's nothing outside of you can control you. And of course, you're not talking on a physical level. You're talking, emotionally and well-being, psychologically. That all comes from you, and no one can make you feel a certain way. We create our own emotions, so it's, if you don't like the way you're feeling, it's not because someone told you something. It's because of the way that you perceive what they told you to be. If someone cussed me out in Spanish, I would probably laugh. But if someone cussed me out in English, I would take it to be offensive. So it's all about how I perceive it to be. And that's probably been the biggest lesson since I've been here. It's just perception.
And Barnett's exactly right. True change always occurs from an insight within the individual. When we see things differently, it's like the magic eyes they used to have that you could look at on a piece of paper, and you'd look for the sailboat and look for the sailboat, and when you give up and relax your gaze, you can't not see it. And it's like, was that always there? And it always was, but your ability to see it now is there.
They told me that I was a good person, and that I was a beautiful person, and that I had things to offer. And you don't believe it at first, but once you start hearing things over and over and over again, you do start to believe it, and you do start to think you're a good person, and eventually that hole starts to get smaller and smaller. And then one day you wake up and realize that, gosh, I don't even want those things anymore. I don't want to take the pills anymore. I don't want to go drink a beer anymore.
Regardless of where someone gets well, it's ultimately within the individual when they have this insight. At Gulf Breeze Recovery, we understand that's where true change occurs, and our entire program, all our therapy and education, is designed to cultivate these insights within the individual, so that the recovery is not coming from us, but it's coming from within them, and because of that, it is permanent, and it cannot be unlearned.
I have a better understanding each week that goes by that I am really the master of myself, not a victim. And that really, it gave me more control. And control has always been an issue in my life. I didn't want to be controlled. I would be controlling over other people. And that was all an illusion.
One of the main concerns is, of course, what's going to happen, when they get home. Now, the beauty is that they have a different mindset because it has come from within.
Every day I get to make mistakes, and I learn from my mistakes. But when I go home, I think the one thing that'll be different will be me. I don't have to let other people or even other circumstances influence the way I think and ultimately behave.
One of the big things we found was that, okay, when a person's here at our facility and they find out about themselves and they have these insights, well, one of the big things, of course, they want to share that. And they understand that their family is probably not going to understand where they're at right now. And so what we've done is we have a family program, and we have an aftercare program. Okay, the family program is there to help the family to understand what their loved one has gone through, and to share the same understanding that we have with the family. Because here's the beauty about the understanding: you don't have to be an addict to benefit from it. Everyone can benefit from it. So it's beautiful in that regard. But we help share that with the family so that they understand where their loved one is. And we also have an aftercare program that helps the graduate to get a deeper understanding of what he or she has learned. And also to help a person when that conditioned thinking that they've had in the past starts to come back. And you know, if they start to lose a little sight, then we can help them to regain that sight. Okay, and so it's an ongoing process, and that's the beauty about it.
Our therapy sessions here are conducted one-on-one with our clients, but we also include family sessions, we have group sessions, we have a variety of things to try to best meet the needs of each individual person. But we never forget that individual part. That's super important because there are certain things that people need to deal with one-on-one, and our therapists are ready to do that. They're ready to meet people where they're at and help them work through issues that they need to work through.
You know, we just want people to continue to deepen their understanding and to thrive.
To feel like you have worth and value, and that's what Gulf Breeze did offer me. You know, that I was worth it, and that I mattered, and that it was going to be okay. Even had I not been using drugs and come here, there's still things this place offered me. All that aside, I learned so much just as a person, and how to live and how to enjoy life and how to enjoy my family and how to enjoy myself. I didn't even have to be an addict or alcoholic or whatever you want to call it to learn and gain from Gulf Breeze.
These aftercare, this continuing education that we have set up has facilitators to help the guest deepen their understanding so that they continue to grow even when they leave.
I'm proud to be a part of the Family Support Program at Gulf Breeze Recovery. All of the therapists here participate in it, and it's weekly interactive sessions where the families can actually log in, and we cover different topics each week, whether it be boundaries, forgiveness, aftercare support and development, so that the families can have education and support and guidance while their guests are still here, as well as after their guest graduates.
You know, our aftercare program is a graduate program. You are going to a different level, just like when you had enrolled into the program, okay, and we helped you to increase your level of understanding, increase your level of awareness. Okay, that's what we're doing still in the aftercare, because it doesn't just stop. You know, we don't just go here and then we're done. It's a continual growth process, and so that's what our aftercare graduate program does.
I think early on we saw the need, well, we saw the benefit of 12-step programs having the fellowship of going to meetings and being able to communicate in the same language. And non-traditional programs out there didn't offer that, and we saw the benefit of it. And so we decided to put together a graduate Thrive continuing education program that allows the guests that have come through this program to be able to engage with previous past graduates and ourselves and speak the same language, deepen their understanding, and do it at no cost to them.
Even before my addiction, I had always had a racing mind and tried to be somebody that the funny guy, or the you know, defuse situations for everybody. I always worried about like how I stood in the community or around people and things like that. So even from then into my addiction, you know, it's just been a long history of kind of a tornadic type of life in my mind. And so after coming to Gulf Breeze and going through the detox and then the programs they have here, that's finally stopped for me. I realized that it's funny, you have to laugh to keep from crying when you find out that the source of all your misery is yourself, you know, and it's liberating, but yet comical in a way, you know. You know, it's amazing that I ended up here, really, and I feel like I'm on the frontier of something almost. You know, these kinds of teachings, and not many people know about it, you know, out there, and I sure didn't. And I feel lucky to have found the place.
I feel like we have our son back. I know we have our son back. And when I see that smile, I know it's real. I know it's genuine, and I know it's because of what he learns in Gulf Breeze Recovery.
For us, the graduate program is not just a benefit that we want to give people, okay? It's a value that we add. And the value is to help a person to sustain sobriety long term.
I'm often asked by families what's my favorite part of my job, and I'd have to say those unmistakable, magical moments when a guest, you can just see within them there's this flip.
It's so liberating to know that I don't have to be this ego, this person I've created to fit into this society. Now I can just come into each moment as Scott or whatever, and live in that moment, not being something or being somebody from my past, you know. And that, to me, that's the beauty of life now, is being able to walk around and enjoy everything without this guy I've created, you know, that says I don't like this kind of music, I don't like these kinds of people. That's all crap. And man, I've lived my whole life that way, and I am free of it, and I feel great.
There's a shift, and they've had this huge insight, if you will. And the next thing you know, you just see this complete turnaround and this complete change.
And I just want them to know that there is hope. There is hope. And not even as something that happens in the distant future, but as an immediate experience, we can help them get their loved one back.
You know, Reed does an excellent job. I hear people all the time telling me, you know, that, you know, I just had this connection, and he understands, you know, what we're going through. As a leader of Gulf Breeze Recovery, I'm passionate about putting together a team of people who care, because the guests see that. They feel it, they see it, they understand it. You know, so why do we do all these things? You know, why do we have a staff, a caring staff? Why do we have, you know, a physical health recovery program? Okay, why do we have a mental health recovery program that's insight-based, that helps people to see for themselves what's going on? You know, why do we have a safe environment, a neat, clean environment? Okay, why do we serve good, nutritious meals? Why do we have a person on the phone like Reed that understands the nature of addiction, understands what people are going through, okay, and can relate to them? Why? Because it works. To find out more about our program and how we can help you or someone you love, call 855-GULF-BREEZE or visit us at gulfbreezerecovery.com.